Hey, so I watched The Invisible Man. I'll start spoiler free, don't worry. I don't even know if I will get into spoilers in this video. If I do, I'll give you a long warning beforehand, because unlike literally everyone else on the internet, I understand that not everyone has had the chance to watch this movie yet. Unlike me at this current moment, but very much like me yesterday and beforehand, before I had the displeasure of having almost the entire thing spoiled for me in advance because the internet just can't keep its mouth shut. Like every time I turn on my phone to go onto Google, like articles just throw up all over the screen about spoilers, about more information about all of the spoilers of the movie, like that the twist ending and like the death count and like all of the stuff like that. And it's like I don't want to see all this. I haven't seen the movie yet and things like that. So no, I won't go into spoilers right away. I'll try to keep things pretty spoiler free at first, and then I'll give you a warning before I go into spoilers if I do go into them. To start with the spoiler free stuff of what I feel about it, I enjoyed it a lot, but there were two different mindsets that I was bouncing between. First off, when I first heard the concepts from the movie, I thought that there was a lot of potential with it and that there was a lot of fun things that you could do with it. Another thing was when I saw the trailers and they're marketing it as your generic average horror movie, it made me somewhat disinterested in it. And they showed way too much in the trailers too. Yeah. And then when it came out to VOD, everyone was just spoiling the movie for me and talking about how 10 out of 10 it was and how it was such a perfect film and how it had some of the most shocking twists ever put to cinema and how it's so much better than all these other classics like Psycho, The Sixth Sense, Primal Fear in the sense of twists. And it's like, it's really not. Like, it's a good film for sure, but it's super flawed. It's not this perfect film. Like, give it time and you'll see like how flawed it is. But yes, it is extremely enjoyable, and yes, it is like from me like a light 5-star movie, which I think I'd give it an 8 out of 10. I think that's appropriate. If I was feeling generous, I'd give it an 8.25 out of 10. That's still on the cards. I feel like I'd want to rewatch it first. Uh, yeah, I guess like if I didn't notice like the flaws of it, then maybe like I would have given it a higher rating. Or if I didn't know as much going in, then I'd give it a higher rating, like an 8.25 out of 10, for example. But for right now, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. Uh, my opinion is obviously pretty biased because, I mean, I went in knowing a lot of things about it way too much. And then it was also influenced by the people that I talked to after the movie. So all of their opinions kind of weighed into mine. So take my opinion with a grain of salt on this one. But it was still really enjoyable. I heard some people that didn't like it and thought it was mediocre, which are very few and far between. But I totally agree with them. And then I heard some people that gave it like tens, that thought it was the best thing ever. And I totally agreed with them. But I just found myself kind of falling in between. And I was like, yeah, it's great. But like, it's not the masterpiece that I was hoping it would be, but knew it wouldn't be. And it's not the mediocre film that I feared it was from the trailers. It's more of a thriller than it is a horror film. And it didn't really feel like it was aiming to scare you. I mean, it didn't really scare me or anyone I was watching it with who seemed to be an easily scared audience. The people I was watching it with loved it even more than I did, which is good. The movie's very aesthetically pleasing and visually arresting. It's very well acted. The special effects look nice. It's helmed by a very competent writer director. He did the Upgrade recently, and that was also an equally good movie, less flawed and more well made, but also felt like it was lacking a more violent punch. I mean, both these movies are violent, don't get me wrong, but when you read the ratings out loud, you expect it to be way more grisly and violent and bloody. But then you watch them and you're like, oh, there's like two action sequences in both of them. I expected it more with Invisible Man, but after Upgrade, I was like, wait, so in Upgrade, there's really just the one action sequence and that was it? And I was like, oh, okay. And that was the one thing that hammered my grade for Upgrade. So Upgrade is probably the superior film, but I enjoyed The Invisible Man more. And with having a couple things spoiled, I obviously found The Invisible Man predictable, but when watching it with people that hadn't heard anything, I was shocked how quickly they predicted literally everything in the movie along with myself that we hadn't known about. And I hadn't shared anything that I knew about the movie with them because, I mean, I'm not going to spoil the whole movie for them. That's just mean. So I wanted them to have a fresh, unique experience. But they, like, figured it out super quickly. And they kept imposing, like, these what-if scenarios that kept happening later in the movie. Like, halfway through the movie, both of us thought of something that neither of us knew would be the ending to the movie. And it was just interesting how predictable the movie turned out to be, which was kind of disappointing, especially when the final shot of the movie kind of seems a little too wrapped up in itself, like it does think it is a little better than it is. And then it doesn't even use all the scenes in the trailer, which is a little disappointing because there are some great scenes that aren't even there because they're trying to trick you and stuff. And yeah, the marketing is very misleading, but it's still a very fun thriller overall. I'm probably making it sound bad, but like I said, I did give it an 8 out of 10, which is an extremely good rating for me. It's like a thumbs up, a recommendation from me. It's a lighter thumbs up, but it's still one nonetheless. I'd say definitely go out and see it if you can. Um, I don't think I'll touch upon spoilers just because, like, I mean, I knew some of them and I didn't know some of them. I knew most of them going in, so it's like, what is there to say about it? Basically, I knew all the deaths and I knew all the twists except for the very ending, so the final scene. And what I thought of the final scene was that, and no spoilers, I won't say what it is. I thought that the scene was predictable because, like I said, we predicted it halfway through the movie. But I was extremely satisfied that they did it because I actually said during the movie, I really hope they do that in the movie, if not in the sequel, because that's a really good idea. And then they did it at the very end, so I was like, yeah, okay. But yeah, upon second glance, the movie definitely has flaws, but I didn't really notice them when I was first watching it through, only when thinking back. So I mean, it's good that I didn't notice them until in hindsight. But yeah, it is a really good movie though, even though it's flawed like every other movie, but like, you know, if you want to see some fun, thrilling movie that has some surprises up its sleeve, The Invisible Man will do just fine. I recommend it. Good job.